Your best employee just walked out the door. That's the third one this week. It might be time to do something different. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus was your best guy. Marcus showed up early. He never complained. He trained the new hires without even being asked. When something broke at 11 o'clock, Marcus answered the phone every single time. And then one Tuesday morning, Marcus just walked into your office and said, "Hey, I got another offer. I'm putting in my 2 weeks." And you're sitting there thinking, where the hell did that come from? But here's the thing. It didn't come from nowhere. Marcus had been telling you for 6 months. You just didn't know how to hear it, and you sure as heck don't know how to listen. Today, we're gonna fix that. Because if you're leading a team, whether it's 5 people or 500, this is the most expensive mistake you will ever make. And almost no one talks about what's actually causing it. What do you think's the number one reason why people think other people quit? Money? Sometimes. Sometimes it is money. I'm not going to stand here and tell you a 40% raise isn't going to move someone. It will. But study after study, I mean Gallup, Harvard Business, MIT, they all say the same thing. The number one reason people leave the job isn't more money. It's their direct manager. Not the company, not the benefits, their direct manager. Now, before you come at me hard in the comments and saying, "Oh, it's not my fault, they're a bad person," I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm saying there's a gap between how you show up and how your team is actually experiencing you. And that gap is where these people, like Marcus, live. That's where turnover lives. So I'm going to give you the 3 most common things that managers do that push those great people right out the door. And none of them are dramatic. None of them are you yelling or being disrespectful or being cruel to these people. They're subtle. They're quiet. They operate in the shadows. And I promise you, they're happening in your organization right now. So what's the first one? First one is you reward the squeaky wheel and punish the others. Let's say you got 2 employees. One is solid, consistent, never causes the drama. But the other one, constantly in the office, always has a problem, always needs something. And because you're busy, you spend 80% of your management energy on the difficult one, trying to manage them, fix them, trying to keep the peace. On top of that, you reward that solid employee with the extra work because it's still got to get done. And so your solid employee watches this every day and they start to think, the only way to get attention around here is to have a problem. So eventually, they do one of 2 things. They become the problem or they leave. With Marcus, he left. Second thing, you give feedback like a report card. If you're waiting to give feedback for that annual review or that PRA, quarterly check-ins, that once a year conversation where you tell everything to everyone what they did wrong the last year, you know what that is? That's not feedback. That's a highlight reel of disappointments with a salary number attached to it. Going into that review, going into that evaluation, people are looking for compensation. So when you just hit them with a highlight reel of disappointments, it's not going to go well. Real feedback happens in conversations. It happens in the moment. It's specific. It goes 2 ways. And most managers were never taught how to do it. So what do? They avoid it until they can't anymore. Catching on with that problem child. The last one, you confuse availability with connection. My door is always open. Come on in. You might hear that all the time. And I believe that people that say it actually mean it. But the problem is, your door being open doesn't actually make people feel safe. They're not going to walk through it. Psychological safety isn't a policy. It's a culture, and it shows up in choice. And that culture is built in small micro moments, not the big speeches of, "Come on in, walk through my door." Maybe it's too late for some of those best employees. Maybe there's nothing you can do about the people that walked out. But there is something that you can do about the people that are still there that you want to make sure you keep. I want to introduce you to something. Here at Limitless, we call this a stay conversation. No, it's not an exit interview. Those are literally completely worthless. By the time someone's in an exit interview, they've already mentally left you. They've already mentally committed to doing something else. And unless you can hit them with that 50% salary raise, they're going to go. A stay conversation is about being proactive. It's about having the conversation with your best people before they start leaving. So here's the structure. And you're going to want to write this down. The first question, what keeps you here? Or what motivates you? This is not a, are you happy conversation? That leads to a yes or no, and nobody's going to answer it honestly. The what keeps you here, what motivates you, opens up real conversation. You'll hear things like, I like the team, or I feel like I'm learning, or maybe even I trust you. Those are what we call retention levers. Those are things that you need to protect at all costs. Second question, what would make you think about leaving? This one makes managers uncomfortable. Good. Discomfort is where growth lives. When you ask this question, you're actually signaling you're not afraid of the truth. You want to hear it. That open door policy actually gets demonstrated here. And people will tell you. They'll say, if I stop growing, or if the culture changes, or if I feel like I'm just a number, you know what to watch for. Last question. What's one thing I could do differently as a leader? Now prepare yourself, because this one's a hard one to ask. You're inviting feedback about yourself. Because here's the thing. If you can't ask your team how to be better for them, you don't actually have a relationship. You have a transaction. And you sure as hell are not going to be able to give them feedback in a constructive way. These stay conversations should happen every month, every 90 days with your top performers. This is not a formal review. This is coffee and conversation. This is in the truck on the way to your job. This is 5 minutes in passing. Yes, about the weekend. Yes, about the weather. You don't love that small talk anyway. Be consistent. Have these stay conversations. Check in with people. See how they're doing. Now, stay conversations are powerful, but I want to take a minute to talk about recognition, because most managers are doing this completely wrong. One, they don't even realize if they value recognition, because if you're low recognition, it's going to be hard for you to conceptualize the need to recognize other people. And the average manager's recognition strategy is wait till someone does something extraordinary and then they say good job. That's it. That's the whole strategy. But here's the problem. Your best people are doing extraordinary things every day. They're just ordinary, extraordinary things. They show up on time. They handle that tough customer without being asked. They cover for a teammate that's struggling. They do the things that nobody notices until it doesn't get done. You don't thank people for showing up to work on time, but I guarantee you confront them if they're late. If you're only recognizing the big wins, you're missing 90% of what makes your team great. So try this 3x3 recognition rule. Every week, 3 specific recognitions to 3 different people. Not good job or great work. Be specific. Hey, I noticed that you stayed late on Tuesday to make sure that job was done right. Thank you. That's the new standard that you want to implement. I want you to see this, and I want you to know this. Because when people start to feel that you actually care, things will change. Be specific, be timely, and be personal. That's the key trifecta. You want a bonus? When you do this consistently, something interesting happens. Your team will start doing it for each other, because recognition is contagious. When you model it, they will mirror it. And suddenly, you have a culture where people feel seen, and when people feel seen, they feel safe and they don't leave. So this isn't school, but I'm giving you some homework. Yes, you're welcome. In this week, find your top 3 performers, the ones that you absolutely cannot afford to lose. And I want you to schedule a 15-minute conversation with each one. Not a review, not a check-in, just a conversation. Ask them the 3 stay conversation questions. Listen more than you talk. Write down what they say and keep it on your person. Then, before the week is over, give 3 specific recognitions. Not generic, specific. Talk about their impact. Talk about the strengths. Talk about what they bring to the organization or to the culture. And that's it. Just these two things, 15 minutes each day. And I promise you, if you do this consistently, your retention numbers will change. Your team's energy will change. And you will never be blindsided by a Marcus walking out of your office again. Because here's the truth. People don't leave companies. They leave leaders who stopped caring and stopped paying attention. The good news, attention is completely free. So if this hit home for you, and if you got a Marcus on your team right now that you can't afford to lose, drop me a comment. Tell me what's happened, tell me what's going on, and I will read every single one. And if you want to go deeper in building your team that actually stays, I've got a free resource linked below on how to build high-performing teams. It's got the stay conversation in there, it's got the 3x3 recognition template, and it's got what you need to start using it tomorrow. I'm Josh, this is Limitless, and we'll see you in the next one.